Hello, everyone. It's me, Cyndi Seidelman, and as everybody knows who's followed me over the years or has known me for a long time, I am a big fan of the Mega Man games. And so I wanted to see if there was an easy way for me to talk about said games. And thankfully, for my laziness, gets paid off one way or another because we do have a Mega Man Tiermaker with almost all of the Mega Man games on it. Now, it's the main series, it's the X series, and the Zero series that are in this Tiermaker that I found. The Legend series isn't on there, the Battle Network series isn't on there. And if I did have a way to throw Legends and Battle Network series in there, the tier maker probably would be a lot more interesting if they had that, but it doesn't, unfortunately. So we're gonna go with the tier maker that's there. So it's just, let's say it again: main series, X series, Zero series, which honestly are the three best series the game has. Although I am really looking forward to the Battle Network collection that's coming out, which is all 10 games. Well, 10 out of the 11 because they couldn't get a double team on there. Or the advanced games on there. The Star Force games, which is the sequel to Battle Network, which is a shame because those games are really good. So, with that being said, let's get straight to the tier maker. It's a standard tier maker for video games. It's S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, and unknown unplayed. And I'll be honest, there is one Zero game that I haven't played yet. And that's ZX Advent, which I have not played yet, although I do own it on the Zero ZX collection. I just never got around to it. That's the simple thing. It's the only one I haven't gotten around to. I've had fun playing ZX, but new games just came in, and I've been spending a lot more time with that. Like I've sunk almost like 500 hours into Isaac on the Switch. More than that probably with the Repentance DLC and various other games. Like I love playing Mario Kart with friends online. I've also played I want to say, oh, Mario Golf. I've played online with friends. Among Us. Offline, there's the Castlevania Advance Collection, which I love. But that's essentially it. So, all of these games, all the other 25 games in the main series of the original Zero and X series I've played. So, oh, also Command Mission's not on here, but I really enjoy Command Mission. I like the RPG style that it had, and I enjoy myself even though I will be brutally honest, I've never beaten the game. Which is something I might do for stream question mark, but who knows. Uh but yeah, so talking about, you know what, get rid of let's get rid of the text. Wait, we can cover it up, but do support the Patreon. We don't need to extend that. We need to extend this. Scroll that up a bit. And there we go. We're good to go. So let's get started. The first game of the series, the original Mega Man game, which is weird because it's the only Mega Man game with a score system because this was released in the early days of Capcom for the NES. In the midst of all of the ports that they did of their arcade games, like you had ports for Commando, you had Trojan, one of my personal favorites, Gunsmoke, and then one of their originals is the original Mega Man game. Now, this has the Japanese box art, which looks a lot better than the American box art, which is one of the top 10 worst NES box arts of all time. But you can see what they were going for in the first game. I mean, if you beat one, let's say you beat Gutsman, and you need to figure out what his weapon is weak, it's like the rock, paper, scissors sort of deal. And just going through all these levels is a lot of fun, and it isn't the standard go from left to right or right to left. But you'll have to go up and down and sometimes backwards in certain areas, which is quite cool. As for the game itself, like all the controls for the first six Mega Man games are fantastic. They're solid, and you understand what they're going through. So with the first six Mega Man games, I kind of have to go with how much enjoyment did I get out of the game. And for the first game, I enjoyed it quite a bit, although I will be honest, it is the last of the original six that I got my hands on to play. Because the game was kind of expensive at the time. Like, it was more expensive than 5 for the longest time. Like, I got my copy of 5 a long time ago. I got it around 2010, and I got it for $30. But at that time, the first game was $50. So, that was interesting to me. But now 5 is just escalated in price. Like, it's over $100. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, but the first Mega Man game, it's alright. It's a B tier game. Mainly because there are 2 parts that I kind of get frustrated with all the time. The first one is the second Wily boss fight, and that is with Clone Mega Man. And it just gets frustrating at times. But then you have the original boss rush, where when you complete that, you're rewarded with a weapon upgrade, and you have to figure out the original Wily machine, and it's not fun. But it's a B tier game. It's still great. I still say play it, but for me personally, it's a B tier game. Then we get to Mega Man 2. I don't need to say anything. Get up. What the hell? Get up there. Thank you. Mega Man 2, there's some argument as to what is the original, like for the regular series, what is the best Mega Man game? Is it 2? Is it 3? For me, it's 2. It's got the better music. It doesn't try to do too much, which I think that's where 3 falters. It tries to do way too much, and because of the short time span that it had to permeate and to be created, like, some stuff felt unfinished. Like the Wily Castle stages felt really unfinished. And just for that, I'll rank 3 here. Well, I'll put Mega Man 3 in A tier, because it took a lot of stuff from 2 and improved on it. Like, I love the addition of Rush, even though Rush Marine is kind of useless. And you have great weapons in 3. And I love the addition of Breakman or Proto Man. And 3 is great, but 2 is just a little bit better, in my opinion. Then we get to Mega Man 4. 4 to me gets an unfair rep. It was the start of the Super Buster. Now, where people might not like it is because it's the start of for the original series, the 2 castle format, where you had somebody who wasn't Wily, you had to fight their castle, and then you go to the Wily castle. As for 4, it is explained quite well because uh, Dr. Cossack was being blackmailed and essentially having to fight Mega Man because Wily kidnapped Kalinka, his daughter, and Cossack was the Russian equivalent of Dr. Light. So, you kind of have to do, otherwise your daughter dies, and that was hardcore. But I could see why not a lot of people like 4. The music isn't as good as 4, even though the final Wily fight music from 4 is impeccable. It is a great theme. Same thing with the Wily Castle stage, and they kind of built on that, or kind of tried to copy that for 5. Um, but a lot of people treat 4 unfairly, but it is B tier. It isn't bad, but it's not a classic like 2 and 3 are. Then we get to 5. 5 Proto Man is framed, and I do like all of the weapons in 5, except for Stone Man, which is almost impossible to pull off, which makes Charge Man kind of... No, is Charge Man or Wave Man just weak to stone? No, it is Charge Man who's weak to stone. But it's almost impossible to hit with them. So some of the weapons are a little unruly. The stages are fantastic, especially Gravity Man stage and Starman stage as well. And this is where you get Beat, and Beat is really important because you kind of need Beat to beat Wily in this one. It's a fantastic game, but it's very expensive. Where do I put 5? I do like the Proto Man stages. I do like the Wily stages. I'm gonna put it B tier. It's so close to A tier, but there's some stuff that prevents it. Now we get to 6. Now, this was the first Mega Man game I beat. I first beat 6. And I think I was like 9 or 10 when I first beat it. So, yeah, it was 9 when I beat it. I do like the interestingness of the Robot Olympics, which is weird because this came out in 94 in America. So, Winter Olympics, maybe? I don't know. But Mr. X was the villain, and it was Wily. I mean, it was obvious. To quote The Rock, a blindfolded, stuck in the basement Stevie Wonder could tell it was Wily. But this brought closure, because you beat Wily and you put him in jail. So, for story-wise, good. Now, the Plant Man has to be the worst Robot Master of all time. Like, playing 9, 10, and everything afterwards, I can't think of a worse Robot Master than Plant Man. And some of the other stages are lackluster, and I don't know. It's fine, but out of all of the games, is it the weakest? Out of the original 6, I'm going to say it is the weakest. Even though I do like the story, I do like the, like, Nightman's stage and music. And, I also like Tomahawk Man. But Proto Man's a non-factor after you've introduced him for the first 4 games. Beat has no bearing, it's just a collection. Because he's can't be used against the bosses. Can't be used against Wily. The energy balancer doesn't do much if you know what you're doing. So it's an okay game, but it is the weakest of the original six. But it is not the worst of the original one. That honor goes to 7. Now, graphically, it looks cool. The problem is the controls are infuriating to me. Like, you don't get much height in your jump, and some of the special weapons aren't that great. Like, I like Shade Man's weapon, the noise blaster. I honestly think that the best weapon of that game is either uh, the freeze cracker weapon. I think it's Freeze Man, or then you got Cloud Man with the bubble that floats up with the explosive in it. Honestly, it's just eh. Oh, but it all becomes a problem because Wily is impossible in this game. You can't use, and his weakness is Wild Coil, which you can't hit him with unless he's beneath you in a jump, and it doesn't work. So you have to find the super adapter for Rush and be able to use that properly against Wily. And then you have the worst thing that this game introduced is elemental damage to you. Because if you get frozen and then hit, that's half your health bar gone, especially in the Wily fight. And you don't have the ability to carry a lot of energy tanks. You carry 4 at max, so it's back to what 2 did. And it's another reason why I think 2 is the best, because it brought in energy tanks to make the game a lot easier. I just think 7 was unnecessary, even though base is pretty cool. It's the worst mainline series, but I can't call it the worst Mega Man game. I'm going to put it D tier. Now, Mega Man 8 is the 10th anniversary game. I honestly really enjoy 8. For me, it's they fixed the the graphics look cool. The controls I think are handled well. I'm not gonna knock it much for voice acting, but I honestly I love the FMVs and the way they look. I mean, when I played this game the first time in like the 2000s, what I used to do is I took a VCR tape and I recorded the FMVs because I couldn't get my hands on the cartoon DVDs yet. So I would watch the FMVs of the 8th game. Not a fan of the Super Bowl weapon, but once you get the hang of it, it's very useful. And it's the only way to beat one of the Wily bosses. The Robot Masters are pretty cool, like Clown Man and Sword Man and Search Man are my favorites from this group. The game itself is just like, it's not bad, but it's not amazing. It was kind of like 8 was running on fumes with the addition of Duo. And that would be the last mainline game. I'm going to talk about Mega Man and Base later. But then we get 9. 9 is fantastic. Like, a lot of the stage themes are wonderful. Like, Astro Man stage... Not Astro Man, but Galaxy Man stage is beautiful. I love its theme. And just the entirety of it all is wonderful. Inti Creates made it instead of Capcom themselves. Because this was during around that time where Capcom, if it wasn't Resident Evil or Devil May Cry, they just didn't care. And they just shipped it off to somebody else. Like, Inti Creates did all the Zero games. And they did a good job with them, so why not have them do 9 and 10? And that's what they did. So, I'm going to put it A tier. Because I love all the Robot Masters. I love the music. There's just something about it holding me back. Maybe I just wish there was a little bit more. I do like the ability to play as Proto Man, but I'm not a fan of sacrificing like one additional shot. Like, for example, Mega Man shoots 3 at a time on screen. Proto Man only does 2. He does have the shield, but you take more damage. I guess Prototype is, more fragile. But those are just minor nitpicks. 10, on the other hand, was just fine. I mean, the Robot Masters weren't as great. The music was not as great. Still played well. I do like the Robo Enza angle out of all of this. It's a play on the computer virus. And yeah, not much to say about it. It's just average. I'll put in C tier. 11 I haven't had much experience with, although I have played it and beat it all the way through. I think I got the platinum on it. No, wait, no, I got close. There's a lot of little things I haven't done yet. But I enjoy 11. I enjoy it, I just don't think it's that great. Like, the double gear mechanic, I think is pretty cool. I do like Brickman, and Brickman and Bounce Man are fantastic. And Acid Man is pretty cool. But I think the problem with 11 is, while it was cool to play it, after you play it, it's just there. I mean, it's a nice comeback, but I just wish more was done with it. So, I'm going to put it in C tier, but let me organize these tiers a bit. You go there. That's fine. Mega Man and Bass. It's fun if you play as Bass. It's a really fun game if you play as Bass. Mega Man's a little frustrating. Now, I haven't played on the Super Nintendo. Actually, I owned a reproduction cart. The problem was it didn't work. I played the Game Boy Advance version as well. It was fun to play as Bass, but the crunch screen? I like the return of Astro Man. Cold Man was alright. Burner Man was nuts. Magic Man was cool. I don't know. I don't know if I should put it in D tier or unknown unplayed, because I haven't beaten it. But the question is, do I want to go back to it? I'm gonna stick it in D tier, but it's above 7. Man, the original Mega Man games for the Super Nintendo just weren't that great. That's a shame. You could have done a lot more. But, who knows. And I'm actually going to stop for right now. That's the original series. That's part 1. Part 2, we're going to talk about the X series and the Zero series. And I'm going to be a lot more decisive about the rest of these 11 games. So this has been part 1. Part 2 is the X series and Zero series. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. If you... I don't know what your thoughts on the original X game, original Mega Man series of games. Just leave a comment about what you think. If you like this Tiermaker, thumbs up this video. Subscribe to this channel if you like game show content. We do a lot of game show reviews around here. Or you can follow me on Patreon if you want to help support the channel. $1 gets you early access to all the weekend videos that we do. These are big reviews, 26 weeks or less. Game show gumbo, which is game show reviews that don't fit. They're not bad shows, but they last longer than 26 weeks. Home game reviews, where we talk about video game or board game versions of game shows, like the Game Boy Advance version of Family Feud, which is actually pretty decent. Well, that's going to do it for this time around. Thanks for watching. Bye.